Hi guys, so today I'm doing a Valentine's date night look. This is a really easy, simple look to do, so it doesn't matter if you never pick up makeup brushes. You should be able to follow the steps alongside me and achieve a great look, even if you're just sitting in the front room and having a meal with your other half. Why not look glam doing it? So hopefully you enjoy this, let me know, and thank you. Okay, so we're starting with the brows. As you can see, I'm using a pencil. It's quite a light brown, and I'm using that to go under the hairs at the front of the brow, bringing the pencil up and curving it on the arch. It doesn't matter if you've got hairs underneath that curve, where you've drawn it in, because that will be concealed. But you just basically want to, it brings the eye higher up, it makes your eye look bigger, and it gives you more space to work with. Remember, you want a really light hand doing this, feather-like strokes, really small, really light strokes. This will give the impression of real hairs rather than a stamped on eyebrow. And remember, just keep taking time to stop and compare each eyebrow, making sure they're similar. Remember, the saying is sisters, not twins. They're never going to look exactly the same. And if you're anything like me, they look more like cousins. So I've got my work cut out for me a lot more. I'm going to go in with a brow gel, just bringing this through again really lightly, touching on the hairs. It will stick to the hairs and it will give your eyebrows a lot more fuller look and a lot more definition rather than looking quite flat. Now, as you can see, I'm going in with an eyeshadow primer. This is the base by P. Louise, and basically what it does is it just sets a nice white tone to the eyelid. It gets rid of any pigment, so it cancels that completely out, and it gives the eyeshadow something to stick to. So not only does the eyeshadow stay all day, but it also intensifies all the colours. Now, by all means, if you don't have anything like this, you can use concealer if you choose to, and if you really don't want to, then don't feel like you have to, because there's no rules. Now, just take your time with this. Don't use too much product. You don't want a big blob of product underneath your eyebrow, and you don't also want a big harsh line underneath your eyebrow. You want to keep it as natural as possible. So just light patting motions, carving underneath the brow. It will hide any stray hairs, because let's be honest, no one's getting their eyebrows done at the moment. So if we've got to fake it to make it, then that's what we shall do. Now I'm going under the eye with a peach colour corrector. This literally just gets rid of any dark bags. As you can see, I've got dark discoloration under my eyes, so I definitely need this step. So I'm taking a small concealer brush and I'm just patting a little bit of that peach product under the eye, just to equal out the colour and get rid of the dark circles. Remember, you don't need a lot of product, you just need to take your time. At this point, you may look a little bit like a panda, but just trust the process, keep going, and remember, it's all okay. Now I'm going in with my MAC Face and Body foundation. This is a really, really light foundation. It's quite watery, it's not thick, and it doesn't give a matte look, it gives more of a glowing look. So it's great for when you get a little bit older and you just need to sort of look like you've had 12 hours sleep, because let's face it, none of us mums get 12 hours sleep. That is literally something that we dream of. I'm using a patting motion with a brush to apply this product. I don't use primer. I find that sometimes when I use primer, it does sit into the lines and emphasise them a little bit more. So I prefer just a light foundation and a patting motion. But you can use a beauty blender, you can use a flat foundation brush, whatever is your personal preference. This just is my current one at the moment. Remember to blend down your neck so that you don't get a mask-like look at the end, and also right up into your hairline, but just avoid underneath the eyes, because too much product under the eyes can give quite a cakey look at the end, and that's not what we're trying to achieve. I also don't like applying my foundation directly onto my face. I find that sometimes you can use a little bit too much, so I tend to put it onto my brush and apply it bit by bit, just taking time and making sure that you're not missing any areas and that you're not overloading any areas either. Now I'm going in with my Maybelline Instant Anti-Age Eraser. This is a great multi-use concealer, and I like it under the eyes because it's not too heavy, and it's not drying either. So you can just put it under the eyes and it's like it's not even there. It's so lightweight. You can also pop it on your T-zone, up into your head, a little bit down your nose, and this will just get rid of any redness. It'll also give a little bit of dimension to your face, so your face isn't just one flat colour. I just dab this into all the highlighted areas on my face just to give it a little bit more dimension. So again, see, your face doesn't sit flat. I'm just taking my setting powder now. This one's by Danessa Myricks. As you can see, I'm taking a lot of the excess product off of my brush and I'm only applying a very minimal amount under the eye and where I need it on the face. This is to prevent any creasing. Now, some people bake, some people don't. I personally don't think for a 30-year-old up you should do. It tends to dry out the skin and sit in the line. So just a tiny bit, just to take off any excess oil or too much shine, just to give it more of a natural skin finish. So I'm now going in with my NARS bronzer. This is an amazing bronzer. It's got such a nice light reflecting tone to it. It's got almost like a shimmer but without looking too glittery. So I don't like to go too crazy with liquid contour on a day-to-day basis. I just find that bronzing up on your cheekbones, up onto your temples, and under your jaw is enough. This is a really light bronzer, so you can just keep building it up. You don't have to stamp it all on harshly straight away, just a little bit by a little bit until you've got the consistency that you're happy with. Remember, when you're trying to contour your face a little bit, your bronzer should only be hitting the shadow parts of your face. So anything that the light touches is where you would put your concealer, your highlighter. But anywhere that's darker, you want to bring in your cheekbones, you would use your bronzer. I'm using a little brush just to go down my nose, not to go crazy or anything, but just to emphasize, making it look a little bit thinner and emphasize the bridge. Again, I'm using another NARS product. This is the NARS blush. It's got a nice glowing tone to it again. So it complements well with the bronzer that we've used and the foundation. Now I'm just taking that not just on the apples of my cheeks, but I like to blend it upwards, and I like to put a tiny bit on my nose. It's quite fashionable now, and I just find that by just putting a tiny bit on your apples, I almost feel like a little bit of a doll. So I prefer just to blend it right in and give more of a flushed, healthy glow. I'm just taking a moment now just to see how the light hits my face and if I'm happy with the results so far. With my highlighter, I'm literally just looking at where the light is naturally hitting my face. So rather than stick a load of highlighter in a line under my eyes, I'm just seeing where the natural highlight on my face would be, and I'm going with that. So a touch on the end of my nose, a little bit on the high parts of my cheeks, and a tiny bit just on the temples where the light hits. And you don't want to go too much because you'll end up looking like you're sweaty, and that's not a great look. We just want to give a really nice, flushed, healthy glow. That's your base done. Just take a minute, look in the mirror, compare everything and make sure you're happy, and then we can move on to the eyeshadow step. Today I've chosen the Fiery palette. This is by Beauty Bay. It's a really nice palette and it's warm, red, orange and brown tones, so perfect to warm up the skin. The first colour I'm using on a really fluffy brush is Peaches and Cream. Now this is a transition colour, it's your lightest colour. You want to cover your whole of your lid with this, just leaving the eyebrow bone. That just gives the effect that you've got a higher arch and larger eyes. So buff that right in. It's a nice sandy neutral colour, and it will give you something to blend your next colour into. Next, you want to use a slightly smaller, really fluffy, light brush, not a dense brush this time. And we're going to go in with Caramel Sauce, which is a really nice, warm, reddy brown shade. Now I'm going to put this on my brush and I'm starting on the outside of my eyelid. This is where you want your darker colours to go. This is where you're going to get your depth. It doesn't matter what sort of eyelids you've got, whether they're hooded or not. You always want to start here and just blend. So I'm not taking any more colour. I'm literally just going round and round and blending that colour right through the socket into your feel your eye dips in just above the eyeball and below the bone. That's where you want to be using as your target route. You want to be going through there, just running it round down onto the lower part of the eyelid to give it as much depth to the outside of the eye as possible, and just keep going, blend, blend, blend. Don't worry about picking more colour up. You don't need any more colour because you want the colour to be darker on the outside and go lighter on the inside. And for these people that think that they're not great at blending, just pick up your last brush that you had with a little bit of the peaches and cream and go over that line. As you can see, it really softens it out. You don't need to spend ages. If you're finding it hard, just go back with the last lighter colour that you used and go over that line, and it will really soften and smoke that colour out. Now I'm going to pick up a tiny little brush, and this is for the darkest colour. I'm going for chocolate souffle, which is a really deep, nice, creamy brown, and I'm sticking that right in the very, very lower corner of the eye. As you can see, I'm just spreading that out. So I started with a dot and I'm just blending that right out down onto the lash line. This will give the appearance of thicker lashes and a lot more dimension, and just buff it right into that last colour that you've used. If you're struggling, you can go back with the last colour, which is caramel sauce, or whatever colours that you're using that are a substitute. Just keep looking, and as you can see already, the eye is starting to get a little bit more definition and a little bit more depth to it. Now remember, you can just keep going back in with your last shades. Just build it up slowly, bit by bit. You don't have to pack on a load of colour and then get lost with this muddy overall look. You want to take it bit by bit, slow, and build up the colour and intensify it until you're happy with that. As you can see, I'm still going right down into the lashes rather than use an eyeliner. You don't need to use one all the time. I'm taking a fluffy brush underneath the eye, and I'm just using the same warm caramel sauce colour and buffing that right out so it's really smoked out under the eye and it reflects what we've done on top. I'll then go in with the chocolate souffle and just run that right up against the eyelashes, just to give like a soft underline without actually using an eyeliner pencil. Next, I'm going to go back with my concealer brush with a little bit of the base on there, and I'm just going to dab that really softly. I'm not doing a really sharp cut crease, so you don't have to worry too much. And if you've got hooded eyes like me, you just want to go above the last crease on your eye, so then you know that you'll actually see the colour. So you're bringing that up, you're really patting it in so it's nice and soft, and so that your eye in the inside is really light. And then I'm going to go in with All That Glitters, which is a really light gold sparkle. It just gives a great reflection and it blends in perfectly with what you've got. Remember, pat, 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 blend it in with the colours, and if you're not sure, or if it's a bit harsh, just go in with your last colours just to blend in the edges. Just by adding that highlighter on the inside of the eye, and right down in the corner of the inner eye, you can see it's just making the eyes pop, it's making them stand out, and it's really giving an overall great finish. So I'm going to go do my second eye and we're done. That was quick. And how glowy is this look so far? I'm not going to go in with any eyeliner because I don't want to confuse anyone that's just a beginner. So I'm going to stick on a little bit more brown. I'm just blending in the bottom lashes with the top so that you haven't got any disconnection from underneath and the top of the eye. For those of you that don't like to wear fake lashes, this is a great alternative. Just pressing the lashes and opening them up, it fans the lashes out and gives a great definition for when you're applying your mascara. Now I'm going in with my Urban Decay mascara, just looking down. If you look down whilst you're doing your mascara, then you won't get the blink of the mascara. You know, when you touch your eyelids and your eyelashes together and you end up with panda eyes and feel like you have to start all over again. Now you can either stop there, or if you're anything like me, I have to have a fake lash. So I've popped them on, and as you can see, I feel like it really completes the look. So the next step is your lips. Using a MAC lip pencil in the shade Spice, I've made sure that it's really sharp, and I'm just going on the outside of my lips, lining them. I'm bringing it down into the corners just to give a really full pout. And then I'm going to just make sure that it's all even. Keep looking again, make sure that your Cupid's bow is the same on both sides. You don't want one side flat and one side pointing up, so just make sure that it's all the same and you're happy with the line before you go onto your lipstick. Picking up the MAC Honey Love lipstick. This is a great neutral tone, and I'm just going all the way over my lips. I'm taking it a little bit over the line just to soften that line so it's not too 90s looking. We all love a 90s throwback, but not on date night. And I'm really happy with that. So what do you think? I'm just going to do my hair, and there we go. I am ready for date night, and I hope you are too. I really hope you like this tutorial, and I hope it helps some of you guys out. So let me know what you think, and if there's any other kind of looks that you would like. And happy Valentine's.